So can you hear my, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Great. This research is actually part of a Sino-Dutch project named IWWC, Inclusive Wise Way Cities. It's an international project between China and the Netherlands. This research is a literature research about the societal transition of societal strengths of transition. I work in TU Delft University in the Netherlands, and my colleagues also work in Erasmus University Rotterdam in the Netherlands. First is the introduction. Based on our observation on the existing literature, we think there's dissonance between circular economy and sustainability transitions. The basic principles of circular economy proposed by Ellen MacArthur Foundation is including design out waste and pollution, keep products and material use, and regenerate natural system. However, in the Brundtland report, it says the goal of sustainability transition is positioned as the collective good for humanity across generations, with emphasis on the sustainability of resource use. Also in the SDGs from United Nations in 2015, it says a set of more specific, there are a lot of specific goals, and a broader framework of indicators has been proposed. And from those concepts and definitions of circular economy and sustainability, we can see that sustainability transition emphasize three dimensions, which are economic aspects, environmental aspects, and social aspects. However, circular economy emphasizes very much on economic aspect, quite a lot on environmental aspect, but social-wise is not being emphasized enough. So the theoretical underpinnings for an inclusive circular economy, the traditional view of sustainability is the triple bottom line model, which means social, economic, and environmental aspects are parallel. Here, they always say society is a passive field full of victims, because during the development of economy or environment, people always consider us taking the consequence of the economic development. But however, there's a new strong sustainability perspective. We think ecosystem actually is embraced by social system and further embraced by the biosphere. Here you can see society is in the middle of the ecosystem and the nature. So society actually can activated as a driving force for sustainability transition. So based on this new strong sustainability view, we think inclusion is a multidimensional process aimed at creating conditions which enable full and active participation of every member of the society in all aspects of life and benefit from it equally. So inclusion is not only about participation, it's also about benefit. So in this study, we try to understand understand the research gap between sustainability transition and circular economy transition. So what are the dynamics of research on inclusion in the concept of circular economy transition? What are the key academic contributions on the concept of inclusion in the context of circular economy transition? The final question is, how should the fragmented contributions on inclusion be understood in an integrated fashion and be used to activate the role of social sphere nested in between the bio and econosphere? So we this is the methodology. To answer those three questions, we conducted a very comprehensive, systematic literature review. We collected 500 publications from Scopus. Also, we use Google Books as a as another database. We use the Prisma method to select the documents. And so we use bibliometric analysis, text menu analysis, and content analysis to analyze those literature. And here's the results. So first of all, we do notice that the publication dynamics in terms of numbers of literature has increased during the past 40 years, especially in the past 10 years. The study about inclusiveness and circular economy has increased sharply. Also, this is the collaboration network between countries. A lot of international cooperation has happened between China, India, United States, and many European countries such as the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden. And the top 10 contributing countries are China, USA, India, UK, and Canada. This is the collaboration network between countries. Also, the timeline and frequency of author use keywords. We list these keywords by the frequency and when it has been used. So we do see some important keywords. For example, electronic waste in the purple circles. It has been mentioned many times in different years, and formulation and electronic and system dynamics, waste pickers. So about waste pickers and how to formalize this group of people has also been emphasized. Then informal recycling, informal sector, developing countries is also a focus, especially during 2010 and 2020, in the past 10 years. Here we did a bibliographic coupling network. We find 5 clusters in total, including the first one is the red circle is about governance, institutional involvement, and public participate. The green circle is about e-waste management, pollution, and health risks. The blue one is about community and cooperate involvement in employment and welfare. The yellow one is about technology, business model, customer behavior. And the last one, the purple one, is about regulation, performance, evaluation, access to waste service. Those are 5 clusters we found in literature. We also have done a co-occurrence network of terms in titles and abstracts. We can see in total 4 clusters. You can also already see some keywords some terms has been highlighted, such as worker, e-waste, waste picker, regulation, China. So those are the most emphasized terms in the research. Based on the cluster, based on this co-occurrence network of terms, this figure has been done by text menu analysis. So we have the results here. Those 4 clusters, the red one is about informal waste pickers and governance, cooperative and institutional involvement, employment and poverty, social stigma and inequity. The green part is about health risk and welfare, e-waste pollution, technology application, and access to waste service. The blue part is about waste management performance evaluation, community involvement, consumer behavior, and economy. The last, the smallest part is the yellow one. It's about regulation and e-waste impacts. So based on all those bibliometric analysis, we have synthesized inclusion studies in the field of circular economy into 7 areas. The first one is informal waste pickers. The second is e-waste and health risks. The third is accessibility of service materials facilities. The fourth is customer behavior. The fifth is corporate and institutional involvement. Then technology application, and last one is government measures. We must mention few points that has been ignored in many studies. For example, the accessibility of service. Actually, only few studies mention this part, but it's a very important aspect to achieve inclusiveness in circular economy. And also private waste traders, community-based organizations and NGO, and they play a very important role, especially in developing countries. And then in the technology application, we see the knowledge sharing networks as also very important to encourage people to participate, to share the information between different actors. But not many people has discussed this point. And then in the governance measures, a lot of people talk about decision-making process, for example, but they do emphasize about choose a solution about circular economy or waste management in cities. But in the problem definition stage, there's no much public participation involved. So this is also a very important part. So finally, we generate this conceptual model to sketch an inclusive circular economy system. You can see different, in total, 10 stakeholders or actors has been identified. They are in the dark gray color, the circle. And the facilities, meaning about waste disposal site and waste collection points. And if you look at the whole figure, we actually divide into informal sector and formal sector. I think in developed countries like the Netherlands, many activities actually happen or organized by formal sector. But in developing countries, we see a lot of activities has been done by informal sector, which make inclusion more important, like how to formalize or how to engage those different sectors together to achieve a more sustainable, inclusive circular economy. Some discussion, and based on our study, we actually develop an circular economy inclusiveness in circular economy. There's a research agenda in 5 aspects, including social inclusion, environmental inclusion, economic inclusion, spatial inclusion, and political inclusion. In those 5 dimensions, we give definition of those inclusion in circular economy. We identified key stakeholders, and we also propose the future emerging research agenda in inclusive circular economy. So these are some conclusions. Because of the time, I think I will skip those detailed conclusions, because I think most of key points have been mentioned in the previous part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Liu. That was an lovely presentation from your side. I would invite the participants to please ask some questions or have a discussion. Well, I was the only one who received a question from the participant side, and I believe that's also from Mr. Shen Yang. I would really appreciate if the participants would come forward and interact in this session. Okay. Okay, ma'am. My question would be, you studied some key stakeholders. So can you give a little bit of elaboration on that, particularly the stakeholders in the environmental sector? So who have you identified, and what do you feel would be their responsibilities, and how would achieve the desired goal?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. I think so different stakeholders, or I call it actors, they are so different in different contexts. For example, in global south, in developing countries, actually there are a lot of informal actors. For example, in this figure, you can see in the green color part. For example, informal waste pickers, they are the people who pick the waste on the street, and they sell it to small traders. For example, paper or plastic, they sell it for money. Then there are also some community-based organizations. I call it CVOS, it's A7. Those are community-based. These are some very small organizations. They help those. They organize the residents. They tell them how to separate your waste, for example. So this is the role they play. Also, they build the networking for knowledge sharing with NWO, with informal waste pickers, and the private waste traders. There are also some other like NGOs. They also did a lot of work in developing countries. Especially they share the knowledge about infrastructure, about business model. They probably learn some knowledge from developed countries and transfer the knowledge to developed countries. But at the same time, actually, I also noticed that they also learn something from developing countries, like how the informal waste pickers contribute to the system. This kind of, because I think informal waste pickers, they do have a lot, because they work on the street to pick up waste every day. So they do have sufficient knowledge about waste, even more detailed than a lot of formal organizations. So we can learn a lot of knowledge from them. So this is the situation in developing countries. But in developed countries, most of the time, these activities has been done by the municipality in cities. So that's a different story, of course. And they have more, especially they have more recycling companies. They have more business involved to help separate and recycle or recover the waste. So as you can see, different scenario in different contexts. Yeah.
So for the environment aspect, your focus has been mostly on waste collection and waste management. Any other aspect in addition to that? In addition to just waste management?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Thank you. Because this study should focus on inclusiveness and circular economy, but circular economy is definitely broader than just waste management. The fact is, when we conduct this study, we do notice a lot of study about inclusion is about waste management. So that's why now it looks like we only talk about waste management, but maybe something else we do notice is like the second-hand shop, for example, is also part of circular economy very much, because people reuse the material or products in second-hand shop. And I don't think it's already waste management, because they are still products that are not waste yet. They're just secondhand. So also in many European countries, we have the too good to go. It's the food management. So if some business, some supermarkets have some food, they will sell it at very low price at the end of the day, and you can pick it sometimes for free, sometimes at very low price. This is also part of circular economy, and it's not only waste management, and it's also about inclusiveness, I think. So there are many other parts, but I must say waste management is the key thing we identify from this research.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the lovely discussion. I believe would you add, or I once again invite the participants if they would like to have some discussion on the session that we had. Any questions to any of the speakers?
Yeah, I will stop my sharing.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So thank you all the participants for for presenting and having this lovely session, evening session. I also would like to thank the organizers of ICRS for allowing us here, giving us this platform. And I would like to conclude the session now. Thank you once again.